Hello. Welcome back to the Sunday Serving channel, where you come every week for words of hope and truth from the gospel. And forgive me today if I sound a little hoarse. Last night I was at my son's high school championship game. They were playing a championship game for the Mid-Hudson Athletic League Section 9 championship, and they lost. Played hard. It was a great game. But I got a little hoarse cheering for them. But hey, that's the one great thing about the gospel, about Jesus. You'll never lose. There's always hope. So today's word of hope is a great one. It comes from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 7. We've been going through the Sermon on the Mount, and here today we have a word about asking and seeking and knocking. And it's such a wonderful word. So Matthew 7, starting at verse 7, Jesus says, ask, and it'll be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives, and the one who seeks finds, and to the one who knocks, the door will be opened. Let's think a bit about that. There's three commands there, three action words that Jesus talks about. First, asking, and then seeking, and knocking. So what does that mean? I mean, we're talking about prayer here. We should go to Jesus, to God, and ask. It's such an unconditional word, such an unconditional command that whatever we ask for, God will give to us. We have to ask in prayer and have the assurance that God will give it. But it doesn't just stop there. It's not just like, praying, here's a list of things we'd like, and we hope that maybe God, you'll give us one or two of them. It's an assurance that whatever you ask for will be given to you, but it doesn't stop there. Seek. So seek is actually more than asking, right? It's going to look for something. If we seek for something, we have to put effort in. We have to, hide a game of hide and seek, right? You got to go and look behind closed doors. You got to look for something. You got to actually put work into it, blood, sweat, and tears. So seek, and you should find. We should ask for what we long for, what we think we need. We have to look, we have to seek, and we'll find it. And then one more verb, knock. What does that mean? If Jesus asks us to knock, that implies, so if we're asking for what we wish for, and then we look for God, right? We look for Jesus. We have to knock. We actually have to go to the home of God, and knock on the door. That's something that takes even more courage and guts, really, right? To go and knock, say, here I am, I'd like to come inside. So we have to look for God, for His will. We have to knock on the door. We have to say, Jesus, God, I want to come and live with you in your house. I find those three things very important. It's like an unconditional assurance that yes, God does want to give us what we ask for, but we have to look and we have to knock. We actually have to knock to want to go there and open the door and be with Jesus, be with God in His house, in His kingdom. Now, of course, not everything you ask for will be given. It has to be according to God's will. But we should ask, and there will be an answer. That's what the assurance is. There will be an answer. God does not leave us without an answer. Sometimes that answer might be no, and then maybe what we're asking for isn't in accordance to God's will or Jesus' will. But the answer will be there. That is what is 100% assurance. And it goes on here. Jesus says, which one of you, if your son asks for bread, will give him a stone? Or if he asks for a fish, will give him a snake? If you then, though you are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good gifts to those who ask Him? So he's using stories here. How do we treat our own children? We want to give them what's good, and we won't give them something that's bad for them. So in the same way, even if we don't know what to ask for, and it might be bad for us, God knows what's good, and He won't give us something bad. He won't give us stone. He won't give a snake, something poisonous. And then Jesus goes on, so in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you. For this sums up the law and the prophets. So here Jesus jumps to the golden rule, right? We know that as the golden rule, do unto others as you want them to do to you. And it's interesting that thought, that rule, is really found in almost every religion, not only religions, but even philosophies, right? But what's amazing here is Jesus frames it in a positive sense. Like, it's not like, don't do to others what you wouldn't have them do to you, but do to others what you want them to do to you. That takes action, right? Again, it's much easier to be passive and just not do something bad. But no, we need to do something good. Every day, find something to do to others that we would actually like ourselves. That is the golden rule. That's love in action. That's the heart of the gospel. All that we've been talking about in the Sermon on the Mount, action of love, of sincerity, of hope. Do to others what you would love done to you. That is the summary of the law and the prophets. Then this word is a little more sobering here. Right after that, Jesus says, enter through the narrow gate. For wide is the gate, and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate, and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. So what does that mean? Entering through the narrow gate, because the gate is wide and broad. That is the wrong way, the way that leads to destruction. And many go through it. But the way is narrow and straight and small, the road that leads to life, and few will find it. So we can be fearful of that message about the wide and the narrow way. What does it actually mean? This is the way I think it means that there really is only one way, and that is the way of Jesus. Jesus is perfect love. God sent Jesus to this world to show us this way of perfect love. That way of perfect love means giving our all to others, giving our all to God, to doing good to those who do evil to us. And so if we look at Jesus, suddenly that way isn't so narrow. Because if we look at Jesus, we're going to be on that right way, the way of life. If we start having fear or looking at how narrow it is, how difficult it is, we've lost the way. And luckily, it doesn't depend on our own goodness. It really doesn't. All it depends on is faith in Christ and believing that Jesus is the way and looking to Him. And that'll focus all our attention on the way of life. So it is a serious word. It's easy to get distracted by selfishness, by following our own dreams and pursuits, and a way that does not lead to life. But the way of Jesus is narrow, but it's easy to find if we look at Jesus. So let's do that this week. Go the way of Jesus, do good to others, and remember, seek, ask, seek, and knock, and Jesus will answer you. So God bless you. Have a wonderful week. Come on, Remy, Ajax, let's go find that way.